We are live on YouTube and at 7:31. I will call to order the special meeting of the Eastern Reading Region 9 Joint Boards of Education for Monday, February 8th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. being held remotely pursuant to Executive Order 7B. I'm also calling the Reading Board of Education to order for its special meeting. All members are present, and I'll ask the other chairs to call their meetings to order, please.
Thank you, Chris. Calling this meeting for the Eastern Board of Education to order at 7:32 p.m. on February 8th, 2021. All members except for Jenny Tita present.
And I will call the Region 9 Board of Education to order at 7:32 for the special meeting of the Joint Boards of Education. All members are present.
Thank you, gentlemen. The first order of business on the agenda is public comment. Any members of the public wishing to comment, please indicate so by raising your hand in the participants window or otherwise making yourself known. I don't see anybody. John, Todd, do you see anybody?
I'm looking.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to board member comments, starting with Easton.
Easton members, any public comment?
And you have Jenny coming in now.
Sorry, any board member comment? I'm not seeing any from my board.
Okay. Reading,
sorry, Jenny is waving. Jenny. I think she was just getting set up. Good.
Sorry. I apologize for missing it. So there was no public comment?
No.
I apologize. I feel very, very strongly about the issue that I'm about to speak about. And since the notice just came through about the remote learning day from tomorrow, I'm going to try to temper my emotions. I was actually in the middle of drafting something to try to say about this issue as the notice was coming through. So I'm admittedly just going to try to get to the point and stay focused. I'm very disturbed by the use of remote learning days as an alternative to snow days. I am not speaking as a mom who wants her kids to go out and be able to go sledding and have fun. I think we have forgotten that distance learning is a poor alternative to in-school learning, and that it's a viable substitute for in-person school days. There is a fraction of the educational benefit from a remote learning day, and to use it as a substitute for a potential in-person day, to me, is unacceptable. I think that remote learning days are invasive. I think to continue to expect our faculty to work from home and cross over and blend family and their work life and their home lives and their children's lives is also unacceptable. I think it's presumptuous for us to think that faculty have the time to prepare quality lessons in the amount of time that the notice is given, even though there might have been a hint that it was going to happen, or maybe they took materials home with them today. I'm not sure that the public understands the amount of time that it takes to create learning opportunities in a remote fashion that are meaningful for kids and that are a viable replacement for these days. I guess I'm just not sure I'm really understanding the purpose. If it's to save a calendar day, it doesn't seem to make sense to me. We're in person, and I think we need to stay in person in all manner. This is not the kind of decision we would make during in-person learning. And I think we're just constantly bouncing everybody back and forth between modes by doing this. And I know the decision has already been made tomorrow. I was disappointed in the one last week, and I'm disappointed to hear about the decision for tomorrow. I had other things I wanted to talk about, but wait and see if there's time later. Thank you.
Any additional board member comment in Easton? I'll briefly just say I appreciate Jenny's advocacy for the teachers, and especially sort of being thoughtful about the impact to them of the switch-in model. I will offer that from my experience, my children had a very successful experience with remote learning, and I know that differs at different age levels and different students. So I can offer a different perspective, but very much appreciate, Jenny, your advocacy for the teachers especially, and for those students who need as much in-person time as possible.
For the kids who have been remote since day one, the transitions obviously are not as big. But for the kids who are trying to wrap their heads around and are mentally in the mode of being in school, to keep switching back and forth between I'm in person, oh, now it's a distance learning day. I'm going back in person, it's a distance learning day. And the same thing for the teachers. I just think it's really unhealthy. And I'm not a psychologist, but the working from home piece of this that I think we've accepted is just not a benefit for people. Some people choose to work from home, but to force people to continue to work from home in this mode, I just don't think it's healthy for anybody.
Can I remind everyone that this is not supposed to be a conversation comment? Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Any additional comments from Easton? And that's it for us, Chris.
Looking to Reading, any board member comment from Reading? None of my colleagues have any comment. I would just like to note that today marked the first time in 332 calendar days that all 5 of our schools were open full in with all attendees who wish to attend present. And I think that's an enormous milestone for our tri-districts. And I want to express gratitude to the teachers, staff, custodians, secretaries, administrators, everybody who played a role in getting us to where we are today. I think it's an enormous milestone for our districts. I also want to note that COVID rates in the town of Reading are at the lowest point they've been in about 3 months. The 14-day rolling average is about 13 now. It was 60 in January. They're also falling in Easton to near 3-month lows, which is also positive. But I also want to caution that continued vigilance is needed within and without our school community. We only have to look one town to the south of Reading, to Wilton, to see what happens when folks decide to let their guard down and host parties or attend parties. It led to a multiple week closure of their high school because there were 24 COVID cases that resulted from multiple high school parties. And so with that, as we are open, we need to do our best as a community to stay open. And that includes staying away from and not hosting social gatherings that could lead to spread within our school community. And I was dismayed to learn about and see photos from parties that included our students over this past weekend, particularly on the eve of us all going back in once and for all today. Hopefully we get lucky and it's not an issue. And it's just a matter of continued vigilance going forward if we're going to stay all in person through the end of the school year. Region 9.
All right. Any board members from Region 9? All right. I don't see any hands. We're good.
That brings us to item 4, discussion and possible action, 2021-2022 central office budget, which encompasses the subcategories of Director of Digital Learning and possible executive session with respect to compensation for central office administrators. And to sort of frame the topic where we left this, there was discussion about a proposed central office budget that included a Director of Digital Learning. At our prior tri-board meeting, the Easton and Reading boards voted to approve the position. It's my understanding, and Todd can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Region 9 board has since so moved to also approve that position.
Correct. We passed unanimously a similar motion at our last special meeting for Region 9 for the Director of Digital Learning. So
that returns the 3 boards to the question of the central office budget. The recommended central office budget was $2,052,269, obviously split 3 ways. And for the purpose of opening discussion on resolving this issue, which is the core function of this meeting, I would look for a motion from any of the 3 boards to start the conversation.
To start the conversation, I'll move approval for Reading.
Thank you, Chris. And that's of the proposed amount.
Yeah.
I'll second.
I heard John first, so it's Hocker, Riley, and Reading.
Motion to do what Chris just said.
Thank you, Devin. Do I have a second in Easton? Thank you, Jenny.
And similar for Region 9?
I'll move that we recess to executive session to discuss administrator increases prior to vote on the central office budget and invite the superintendent.
Well, can we make the first motion on the budget and then go back to your other motion?
Makes no sense to
Table.
make the first motion if we're gonna
Well-
table that to vote on the second one. We can't
Yeah,
vote on it, so how do you slip the other one in?
I'm going to rule the motion out of order. You can absolutely table the main motion to have a subsequent motion or other business if you'd like, but there's two motions on the floor from Easton and Reading, and if we're going to get anywhere tonight, we need to cooperate on what we're discussing.
All right, so I'll look for Region 9 for a motion on the budget, as is, for start of discussion.
This is for just discussion, right?
That's correct.
That is
Okay.
correct.
So moved.
All right, I have Karen. Do I have a second for Region 9?
As a practical matter, if Region 9 decides not to discuss the motion and the two other boards pass it by 3 votes, it becomes a central office budget. So I would prefer it if we all had the opportunity to discuss it together.
I still need a second from Region 9
For the purposes of
I see.
discussion.
for
I'll
discussion.
second.
And that's not correct.
Yes, Maureen.
It's not.
What's incorrect, Mike?
So wait, can we please, we have 3 motions and discussion on those motions.
Yes.
I was asked a question. I'm just responding.
Sorry, Mike. I'm just trying to keep the peace.
That's no. It's
All
fine.
right, so we've got 3 motions. So
Okay. So do we want Mike is sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Right, Mike, you have a question about procedure?
Yes, the mechanism is a gentleman's agreement that the boards have used in the past. It requires multiple votes, and then 2 boards can overrule the outlying board. So that is correct, but I don't believe your assertion is correct that if we didn't vote to consider it, that the 2 boards could enact it. I don't.
Right. It's happened at least twice in the past where Easton has not taken up the question of the central office budget and it's been approved in their face. So just as a matter of precedent, the mechanism has been used. I'd like it not to go down that path, and I'd like to have a conversation. There are 3 main motions on the table that we can discuss at this time and figure out where that's going to land us.
That's fine. I'd still like to move that we recess to executive session to discuss administrative increases.
all right, we've been motion Region 9. Do I have a second from Region 9? We're moving to exec session. And Karen has a second.
Do I hear the motion, Neeson?
I'll move.
Thank you, Randy.
Sounded like Randy.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Devin.
Motion in Reading.
I'll make the motion.
So Heather, it looks like a second from Mike.
Oh, okay. Secretary,
Go ahead.
I understand what Mike D'Agostino is talking about, but we already had active motions on the floor for the approving the central office budget. So are we saying that those are we removing them?
No, those motions remain live. Mike is triggering a procedural mechanism to move to executive session to discuss a portion of the central office budget as it relates to administrative increases.
And
That's how I'm
everybody's
interpreting it.
okay that I'm not indicating they're tabled or anything like that.
Correct. They remain the main motions for when we return to public session.
Okay. And it was Heather and the second.
Mike,
Thank you.
Chris,
To clarify, were we going to invite the superintendent?
that was my understanding of the motion.
That was my motion.
Yeah.
That's superintendent, yes.
Good.
John?
Do we need?
Vote.
Can we vote now?
Yeah, that was, yeah. But,
Let's,
motion
so-
originated in Region 9, so we can start with Region 9.
Region 9, again, on the motion for moving to executive session with the inclusion of the superintendent. All in favor? I'm looking around, it looks unanimous.Ado?
Good. And in Easton, all in favor? Okay. Jeff, is that, I'm sorry, I can't see if your hand is raised.
No, no, it wasn't.
Not raised. Okay. So I vote yes as well. So that's 5-1.
In Reading, I'll look for any objections to the motion. If there are no objections, I'll deem it approved by unanimous consent. So this is the tricky part.
Yeah. Do we want to set up a breakout room? Only the actual host can set up a breakout room.
And we'll need to stop recording when we go.
Yeah. Although I think we can record the empty room, but probably
And
safe.
we'll follow the host.
I don't think so, but yeah, probably safer to just
We'll
stop.
just double check when we go in.
I'm going to deem the 3 boards in executive session at 7:47 and pause the recording.
Mhm.
And